Hey, Carrie, how's it going? We got Ronnie, we got Benever.
It's going all right.
Good, good. Where are you at?
I'm in Arizona near Phoenix.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm originally from New Mexico. We got very similar weather.
Yeah. the
Summers are brutal.
summer that never ends.
Yeah. Arizona's a little worse than where I'm from, but
Yeah, I call it the microwave, or the,
yeah. Well, I'm in Vegas now, which is
okay.
are like almost always 117 every day.
I totally get it. Yeah.
It is brutal. Okay, let me just fix a few things.
You take your time.
All righty. Documents. Let's see, I think other people are trying to get into participants.
Should I keep my mic muted most of the time?
Yeah, I typically mute everyone once, everyone gets in. So yeah, I'll probably just hit mute all here in just a second.
All right, no worries. You do your thing and you get ready.
All right, thanks.
All right, no problem.
No templates. Okay, cool. Chat. Hey, Timmy. No biggie. He says I'm logged on Brothers Zoom. No worries. All right, we are live. How's everybody doing? I still have quite a few people I know that need to show up because I showed up a little early. So I have that chat box if you guys have any questions. And then remember, we tried it out last week. The whole, if you have any questions, you can just go to that bottom thing that says reactions and you can like put your hand up. Here we go. We got Stephanie coming in. All right, we got Stephanie, Roland, Benever. I know it's not Timmy, but hey, Timmy. Ronnie, Nick, Kuko, Carrie. Got a few people in here. How's everyone doing? I know we're a little, well, actually it's already 2:00 now. Are there any questions, because I have some stuff that we're gonna cover today, but did anyone have any specific questions that they wanted to ask me before I get started? And it can be about anything. It can be about the, the press releases that we're creating. It could be about, oh, and by the way, is it Benever? Is that how I pronounce it? Benever is what I would say. I don't know. That's
yeah, it's actually Benever.
Benever. Okay, there we go. Oh, that's way more pretty than Benever.
Yeah, but try to explain that in a loud room, and everybody's like, "Your name is whatever." Like I've been on just got off stage, and people are like, "Oh my God, what's your first name? How do you pronounce it?" And I'm like, Benever, and they're like, "Whatever." I'm like, no, just call me Vice. It's fine.
Yep, that's so funny. Yeah, well, I've never heard it. It's beautiful. But I did check the, I remember you were saying that there was an issue with the How to Perform course.
Yeah.
I logged in, not as you, I logged in as other people, because I can use other people's name login. It worked fine for me. So I'm not sure, I'm gonna try logging in as you, but I wanted to get your email, because then I'd be able to see what you're saying.
Okay.
What is your email?
It's actually my first name, the venevervice@gmail.com.
Okay. I'm just going to check it out after this meeting.
Okay.
And then I'll see what's happening, because I can actually log in as you and it'll show me what you're seeing. So
okay.
I don't know what happened, because I checked on a few different other profiles and
yeah, because it still came up that way yesterday. I was like,
still, okay. Yeah, because I just pulled it up like an hour ago. So I'm not really sure, because I thought maybe it was just working for me, and then I tried some other people's and it was working fine. So I don't know, maybe it's just something with your account. I'll have to look into it today. So. All right, Carrie, you said you missed last week because the meeting got moved and I had something I couldn't move a second time involving my new LP. Yeah, you know what? So last week, I apologize, guys. It's recording now, but last week I didn't record our webinar. So I'm still figuring all this stuff out. So I apologize. That's the only reason why we don't have the recorded version.
Totally okay.
This one's recording. What'd you say, Carrie?
That's totally okay. I was just checking. No
Oh,
worries.
okay. All right.
No
All
worry.
right. Yeah, I'm so sorry. And it was a good one. There were so many good things that we covered. And as soon as we were done, I was like, like, I can't believe I didn't record it. So I apologize. And then this week I had to move it. I've been moving I was in New Mexico for like the last year. I had to move my son across the state from New Mexico to Vegas, and he's 1. So you can imagine how this week has been. So it's a little, that's why I had to move. It was his first day of school and all kinds of stuff. So I was like, okay. Great. Rod says, I'm actually in my room eating noodles and mixing and mastering right now a track, but I'm still tuning in. Awesome. It's such a great skill to be able to engineer. That's the one thing that I've never learned. It's just, it's so like time consuming. I mean, it's a whole other art that I've never learned. And I usually like try to learn, all aspects, but that's just a whole other beast. So
I sometimes just want to know how to press the record button.
like, there you go. Yeah.
I have this song idea. I have it all in my head. And I'm like, okay, I know how I'm going to do this. And then I get the program out and I'm like, I call my guitar player. My guitar player is a sound engineer. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Where's the record button?
Yeah. How do I just do something really basic? Like just record. I
need to send this to you.
I've used my phone recorder for so many different things. Like just, especially for like cover songs and real basic stuff that I just don't want to put the time into and then to have to go get mixed and mastered. And then I'll just like dump it into like Logic and add like some reverb and it sounds amazing.
Well, what's funny about that is I own a Pro Tools HT rig here at the house. Like this is a real recording studio over here, as you can see. This is like 30 grand worth of gear in the house.
Wow.
And there's guitars over here and, but what was funny about the new record is I was super depressed. Like I have bipolar disorder. And I did this thing about 10 days out from the election where I shut off the TV. I turned everything off and I recorded a song live with an acoustic into my phone once a day. I made myself kind of like fight through the depression and the like all that. And the rule was I had to be able to play it live, stripped down. So I went through about 40 tracks. I picked 11, and we ended up recording those 11 tracks over the course of the last few months. They're almost done now. So it's been like a weird thing where like the stripped down thing is actually an advantage because it makes you work between the lines. It makes you color inside of a little box, that makes you actually get something done. Mm-hmm. My advice to people who want to learn about recording is to just get your feet wet with something small and to talk to people who really know what they're doing. Because I was mentored by Shelley Yakis, who mixed John Lennon's Imagine and Walls and Bridges and all these classic rock records. I worked for years, like never seeing the sun as an engineer, so it's kind of been a weird thing in my life. I was not thinking I'd be an artist again for a very long time. And I'm a little nervous even talking about it. So sorry for blabbing, but
no, not blabbing at all. I think that's amazing. And I think that's incredible that you like worked through it. Because I know for me too, like if I'm not feeling great, I was telling a friend of mine, I'm like the other day, I just had to shut everything off and I just played the piano all day. Because that was like my therapy. Like I just needed to, I had this full to-do list of all this stuff I had to do, but just so much was going on in life that it was like, I just had to go screw all of it. I'm just going to sit and play the piano and I'm not going to think about anything else. And that's, I was saying, I'm like, I just feel like you're allowing your body and your mind to become an instrument, and sometimes I feel like it's not even coming from me, like it's coming from something else, like whatever you believe in, whether it's God or energy or the universe or whatever it is, that's what I feel like. So I can completely relate with you. And that's really cool. I want to check it out. Whenever you're done, you'll have to share it on the Facebook group.
I absolutely will. There's going to be some really close rough mixes for a few songs, probably by the end of this week. So if you guys are interested, I'll post something like kind of semi-private and put it up, to get some feedback.
Yeah, put it in the group because it only goes to us and we're all musicians. So it's different. Whenever you show somebody something that you're working on and they have no idea how great it's going to be, like they don't have any imagination. So you don't like to share it with people. That's how I am, unless someone's an artist and then I know that they can, kind of imagine what it's going to sound like once it's done.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, the only thing I'll say, and I'll shut up because you got to get going, is I didn't mean to monopolize a lot of time. Is this whole thing has been kind of like an exercise in learning how to say yes. You know, like that's like, because I'd sort of relegated myself to working for other people and doing software development for mastering software, and like I'd kind of said, okay, I'm too old to be an artist because I just turned 40.
Never too old.
And you know, yeah, exactly, exactly, yeah. And then I wrote these songs, and I wound up working with Mike Malanin, who used to play drums for the Goo Goo Dolls, and like we cut those tracks in like 2 days. You know, like nobody cuts drums for 11 tracks in 2 days. Like he banged out 8 songs in the first day.
Wow.
You know, and they were the first takes. You know,
Wow.
yeah, he plays, like everybody thinks that, I think that he's sort of underrated as a drummer because they were like a pop band, but he really plays more like Jimmy Chamberlain from the Smashing Pumpkins meets David Lovering from the Pixies. And it's this real, like, he can really play. He's a fantastic player. And so anyway, yeah, I'll shut up. But the thing was just, you know, I got all over my nerves a little bit because I have anxiety and, you know, all that. And everything's been kind of like moving, you know. And then this whole thing, I just thought this would be a good fit because I'd be able to kind of be in a think tank with a lot of people about what to do next.
Yep.
You know, because I don't think we can put out albums anymore. You know, at least not initially. I think it has to be like one single at a time. Yeah, you know, you have to slowly build that audience. You know, at least I think mathematic, like because I was reading statistics recently, and it's something like 19% of kids under the age of 25 have never listened to an entire album.
Right. Well, and that's if you're, and the one thing to remember too is if that's your demographic, though.
Exactly, knowing your audience, your age range.
True.
Yeah, because you know the gentleman that I was telling you guys about last week, if y'all were on that has the 34 number ones, and it's not young audience. I mean, you go to his Spotify's like shit. He has like 2,000 plays a month there, but he sells hundreds of thousands of albums to people over the age of 40 and 50.
Oh my God, I would kill.
He has 34 number ones Billboard records, and the way that Billboard records are measured are based on album sales or single sales, depending on whether your album hits number one or your single hits number one. Well, 40 and 50-year-olds don't go on Spotify. I don't even go on Spotify, you know? So, you know, his audience is an older demographic, you know, and I mentioned last week, there's only 2 people that have more number ones than him, and that's Madonna and Toby Keith. I keep on thinking
that's crazy.
Another country artist, and him. He's Frankie Moreno. Nobody even knows who he is.
What's the genre of music?
So he does all kinds of stuff. A lot of the stuff that he does is like blues. But then he also released a reggae album. He's released a classical album. He plays classical piano.
Wow.
He does all these different genres. Just because he feels like it. You know, there's a lot of people that go, no, you have to stay in one genre. You can only do this and you can only do that. And you have to have 1 million plays on Spotify. And you have to, but then you find people like him who says, no, I don't. And the only people that can give me more advice on how to get more Billboard records are 2 people, Madonna and Toby Keith. That's it. Nobody else can give me any more advice, right? And it's the same thing. And it's just something, you know, like I share with everyone too. It's like, even in you know, for me, it's like when I, you know, first, you know, broke like my first 6-figure year as a musician, and I didn't have like, I think I didn't have even, you know, 50,000 followers or fans or anything like that. I mean, I didn't have anything like that. I focused on other things. Like with him, the focus is his email list. You know, he's focused on his email list and catering to the people that listen to him. His listeners are just an older demographic. So that's what he focuses on. So it's just really important that, you know, everyone just realize what their demographic is and then, you know, figure that out. But yeah, singles are a great way to go. He also has number one albums because his audience doesn't care whether he's selling silverware. Right. They're going to buy it from him because they love him. And that's like the biggest thing that I tell everyone with the takeaway.
You need to find super fans.
Yeah, is finding those super fans because they will buy everything from you. I mean, I don't know how much you guys know about what I have, but I also have a tortilla chip company that's in like grocery stores, and people send me pictures of like, look, I bought your tortilla chips, you know, and those because I'm connected with them and I'm going to they know that, hey, anything I'm going to put out, I'm going to, you know, give my best, and they trust me, but they also like me, you know, and that's like the best thing that you can possibly connect with with your audience. And, and I've mentioned before, some of my super fans have spent, thousands of dollars with me a year. I have one that spent upwards of $25,000, on every time I do a crowdfunding campaign, every time I do, just different, have different things for sale or whatnot. But once you have people like that in your life, to make $25,000 on Spotify, I mean, they give you a fraction of a penny,
Right.
So it's like, just build those relationships with people. So I'm reading some of these things. The Great Raw says, email list is where it's at. I'm so done with the other platforms. When you bring people to your website, boom, you have a consumer base. And and that's the thing, like the goal is like with everything that you do, like, and one thing I'll share with you guys. So if you notice, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, when I release a song, I don't even tell people to go buy it. I don't say, go to iTunes, go to Spotify. I say, don't buy it. I say, get it for free. DM me, send me your email, and I'm going to send it to you for free.
Then you have your email.
And now I have their email, and they wanted the song. It's somebody that's, that wants to be on my email list. Cause you don't want just like, people that don't want to be on your email list. You want really targeted people. And so, I don't even tell people on my YouTube. If you go to my YouTube, same thing there. I don't even tell people to subscribe or anything. I go, send me your email list, send me your email and I'll give you this song for free. Don't buy it. And not only that, I didn't even put my music on iTunes or Spotify or anything like that for like months after I'll release it, because I don't want people to go stream it. I want their email address. So, because once they stream, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's not valuable to me. Someone called it vanity metrics, right? A lot of people like to go, oh my God, I have 1 million followers, and it doesn't hurt. It absolutely helps, absolutely, if you can build that. But if your focus is to build your Spotify list, you're losing out on that opportunity to get their email, which is valuable because now you can reach them for life. And we're gonna get into like all the specifics on how to do that. But that's one thing that I do that I would recommend that you guys do is anytime you're releasing a song or releasing a, regardless of what it is, whether you add like a book of poetry or lyrics, or maybe you're going to do a private concert for people, get their email, post that on your Instagram, post it on your Facebook, on your, everywhere that you possibly can, TikTok, whatever, and just put, hey guys, you want my song for free? Or do you want to come to this free live performance? You need to give them something. And then you ask for their email. And then you just build that list up. I mean, it's amazing what you can do with that. So absolutely. Let me see here what other people are saying. Great Raw, I don't believe in even claiming genre. I create what I will based on how I feel music is defined. And that's the thing is, once you have access to your direct customers, like once you have that direct access, you don't have to play by anyone's rules. Like what I always say for myself is the most valuable thing that I did for myself was I don't have a boss. Like nobody tells me that I have to like put out a certain type of music, or that I have to dress a certain way, or that I have to show up for a show that I don't want to be a part of, or that I have to be nice to this guy because he's, part of distribution or whatever. And, we got to, kiss everybody's ass because we got to recoup all these costs. I don't have to do any of that. And I think that that's the most valuable thing, because I have a direct connection to my followers. Because I can say, hey guys, I put out a rap album. I mean, I can put out whatever I want and I'm connected with them. And even if they don't like it, it'll be a friendly, hey, Chris, maybe you should stick with, what you do or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be this like, you suck, because I have a different connection with them. And the same thing with you guys. I mean, this is a whole different business for me, right? Like helping musicians and that sort of thing. I mean, I have a direct connection with you. I don't put out a book through like a publisher. There's not a publisher putting out my book and hiding all the contacts. And, if I get in a fight with them, now I lose my connection to you guys. Instead, I built the connection with all of you. So because I built the connection directly with you, there's nobody's like, there's, I always feel like, whenever you have like a boss and you work for somebody, you always kind of have to deal with them. You always have to deal with like, well, I got to be nice to them, even though I don't want to. The best position that you want to get into is a point where you don't have to do that, right? Like that's the goal, where you just go, man, I get to do whatever I want. As long as I take care of the people, then that's all that matters. Just take care of the people that you have. So Great Ross says, he sent me a private message. I want to hear your rap album. That will be wicked. I know. I don't know. I don't know if I'll try that genre, but maybe as a spoof or something. I don't think I'm going to be very good in that genre very much, but yeah, do you guys have any questions? Put it in the chat box, or you can raise your hand if you go to the reactions. Anything that we've covered already, or any other questions that you have about anything. Sabrina says, I started to build my webpage at Bandzoogle. Do you have any tips? Did you know how to connect merchandise? Yeah, there's a store inside of Bandzoogle. So you can, there's a store option and you can put whatever you want to sell there. You're just responsible for shipping it out, but you can put how much shipping costs. You can put, you know, pictures of the images and that sort of thing. So and then Bandzoogle also offers a option where you can put an email capture on the top. I do recommend doing that, where they'll actually do it for you, where they'll automatically set up so that when someone puts in their email, they get a free song. So that's kind of one cool thing about Bandzoogle is, and if you guys don't know what Bandzoogle is, it's kind of like Wix, but it's designed specifically for musicians. So everything about it is music based, which is pretty cool. I used to be on Wix. I switched over to Bandzoogle, and that it's just nice because it's automated. Not only that, you know, I talked to you guys about membership platforms. If you guys are familiar with Patreon, Patreon is a website, as a platform where, you know, people can come and pledge once a month, you know, $10 a month, $20 a month, or even $1 a month to, you know, pay you every month so that you can continue to create music or music videos and that sort of thing. But they take a percentage. That's kind of the only like con, they take a percentage. But on Bandzoogle, there's a membership platform built in and they take nothing at all. They take 0%. The reason being is they charge you an upfront fee, which is like $15 a month, which is nothing, right? You were going to pay that anyways to have a website. The great thing about Bandzoogle is you can also have a membership platform in there and you're not paying anything at all. Whereas, you know, something like, I was looking at Amanda Palmer. I know I reference her a lot. She's one of those artists that she does $1 million a year off of Patreon, but 15% of that goes to Patreon. That's $150,000, right? That's a lot of money that you're paying someone just so you can host, you know, your fans on there. That's a ridiculous amount of money. That shouldn't even be, you know, existing. And that would look, even if it was, you know, 10%, if you're making $1,000, you're having to pay $100, you know, for that. And that's ridiculous. So Bandzoogle's a really cool alternative for that because it's free if you have that. So Robert says, does Bandzoogle have the built-in audience that Patreon has though? No, it doesn't. But the audience that's coming to Patreon, if they're not coming for you, they're not going to subscribe to you. So that's the whole point, right? Just because someone can find you on a platform doesn't mean that they are. They only go there directly to find the people that they're interested in supporting, which is why it's important to have that email list. Because you have that email list, you could send them to Patreon, Bandzoogle, Wix, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. They're going to follow you. So your email list, if you send them to Bandzoogle where you're not having to pay a membership fee or any percentages, it's going to be way higher than any amount that you think you're going to lose just by not being discoverable on Patreon. I never go to Patreon and go, oh, who can I, you know, subscribe to today? I go specifically for, you know, certain people. And that's what even Amanda Palmer, her thing is her email list and her Twitter following and all that. They're going to follow her no matter what, whether she does a crowdfunding campaign or, you know, that sort of thing. So, but that is a good question though, because that was something that I was exploring as well. You know, Patreon does have some other perks, but I don't think the perks outweigh what you're going to end up spending. After I kind of went through all of it, that's my thoughts on it. And that's why email list is so important. Ronnie, what are you doing to get people to subscribe to your email list? Okay, so earlier I mentioned there's a lot of different things that I do, but one of the things that you guys can implement right now is if you're putting out a song, put the song out, but in your caption say, if you want my song, DM me and send me your email and put in the words free song. That's what I tell them. So if you go to my Instagram, you're going to see that on all my music. It says, hey guys, you want this song for free? DM me the words free song and send me your email. I'll send it right to you. Not only do you get their email, but more importantly, it opens dialogue with you and them. So now you can be like, hey, you know, hey, thanks so much. Can you let me know what you think of the song? And now they're going to let you know what they think of the song. Now that you've created communication, now they're probably going to ask you questions. They're not going to be afraid to talk to you, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to create this like separation between the two of you where they feel scared to speak to you. I mean, I know myself and my experiences through, you know, my business, the closer that I am with people, the more that they trust me and the more that they like my music, or the more that they'll join a program like this, you know. Whereas imagine if you guys couldn't reach me, or imagine if most of you have come on because you've either been subscribed to my mailing list for a long time, or you came in on a webinar that I gave for free. I gave you something for free and then started talking to you guys about something and built your trust. So you knew that I was going to be here and show up for you and that I knew what I was talking about. It's the same thing as a musician. And another big thing too that I was thinking about today, and I'm probably going to post a video on this on YouTube, but think of different ways that you can capitalize off of your gifts and talents, right? Not just your music. Because for me, I don't make money just off my music. If I did, I would be, it's just kind of like you can only make so much anyways, right? Off of streaming and selling your CDs and merchandise. If you have something else that you can do, you know, Carrie, you're an engineer, you know, you create, you can mix and master, and you can do other things, you know, Raw, same thing for you. You're a engineer as well. Can you write songs? Can you offer a songwriting service? Can you offer a production service? Do you play an instrument? Can you offer that? Can you offer a singing telegram service? You know, there's so many different things. Do you have, you know, I had equipment, performing equipment because I perform so much. Well, at one point I decided, hey, I have all this equipment. Let me just rent it out. So then I let all my friends know. I posted it online that, hey, I have equipment, and if people want to rent it, you know, if people need it for a night and they don't want to go spend $1,000, $2,000 on some equipment, they can give me just a couple $100. And now I've made money, they've saved money, and I've just found more ways to capitalize off of my gifts and talents, or my equipment, or whatever it is that I have. So for you, you want to think of like your career as like a whole entire thing. There's a concept called like a value ladder. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but a value ladder is when you offer multiple things, right? And some of those things continue to rise in prices. So for you, maybe you offer, hey, I have a single, you know, my downloads are 99 cents, right? So that's your low end. And then maybe you're a vocal teacher and you offer lessons at $50 an hour. And then you have some equipment that you rent out to singers, and that costs, you know, $200 for the night. And then maybe you have private shows that you offer for $250 to $500, you know, and then maybe you offer, hey, I'll write you a song for your loved one for Valentine's Day. That's $500. I mean, all these different things that you can offer to people are going to help you make more money. You really think of it as a business. You don't just walk into a business typically and they just sell pencils, right? You don't walk in, they just sell pencils. They sell pens and erasers, and, you know, or if it's a computer shop, they're selling computers and TVs. I mean, there's usually lots of things that you offer to your audience for you to be able to be profitable. So never think of your business as just one thing. You know, it's always the summation of a lot of things. I used to teach, I taught music, I taught piano, I taught voice. You know, I used to sing on, one thing that I did was I would hit up rappers and I would go, hey, do you guys need someone to sing on your hook? And they would pay me like $200, $300. And I would sing something or write something real quick, and I would record it and send it to them. And now they had a singer on their hook. That's something that I knew as a singer that I could do. Or maybe you're a lyricist, and maybe there's all these other rappers that don't know how to write lyrics, but you do. And so you can hit up these rappers and go, hey, look, I'm a lyricist. I wrote, you know, I'll write this for you. I'll ghost write for you, you know, things like that. So, Sabrina, yes, good question. So Sabrina says, do you know a site where you get made your merchandise? I do. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do, but what I do recommend is, when I first started out doing merchandise, I used to have to buy a lot of merchandise up front, right? I'd have to buy like 100 t-shirts. And the bad thing about that is you don't know if it's going to sell. it takes this like upfront investment that kind of sucks, that, you know, or CDs. I remember ordering CDs. I had to order 1,000 CDs to make it make sense, you know, and you just never know if you're going to sell it. So there's a print, it's either Printify or Printful. I forget which one I like, but one of these I use, which is really cool because you can integrate it. Oops, sorry, it went to a private chat. I always do that. So Printify and Printful. Let me check those. I forget which one. There's one of them that I like better than the other one. But you can actually integrate it. So what you can do is, what these are factories, like Printify and Printful are factories that basically they'll fulfill your orders when they're made. So what happens is a fan can go to your website and say, hey, I want a shirt that says, you know, Bob Smith on it. Well, all they have to do is order it, and these factories will print out the shirt and ship it to them. And they're going to charge you, let's say $5, $7, and you're charging your customer $20. So what's great about this is you're not having to keep all the merchandise. You're not having to get shirts in all kinds of different sizes. And they have all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, you can get like towels made. You can get like plates made. I mean, you can sell whatever you want. I mean, they have keychains. They have like customized glasses and even shot glasses. And I mean, you know, if your thing is maybe your song's about, you know, getting drunk on the weekend and you want to sell a cool shot glass, you know, that, you know, maybe the song's called like Whiskey Troubles or something, and you want to offer the shot glass that says Whiskey Troubles. Well, that would suck if you had to go print those out and order thousands of them, because maybe only 100 people are going to want them. Maybe only 10 people are going to want them. So what you do is you just go to Printify, you create the artwork, and you can just put it all in there, and then people can order it from there, and you can integrate it into your websites. I'm not sure if it integrates with Bandzoogle, because I had actually done the merchandise myself, but I'm about to use them because I've used them for some other projects, but I don't know if I'd have to check to see if it goes with Bandzoogle, but for sure it does with like WordPress and those types of things. I'll definitely look into whether it can integrate or not, and then I'll let you guys know for sure. But it's a good one. M. Terrell says Printful does now. Okay, cool. That's good to know. So Sabrina says, thank you so much. Your tips are so helpful. You're welcome. Yeah, and exactly like you said, you'd have to get a place to store. I still have shirts and CDs from, you know, lots, because I've put out a lot of albums. I've probably released like 10 or 11 albums. And, you know, I still have old CDs that, you know, from back in the day that I'm like, man, I have a ton of, I'm about to offer them. Cause it was like, for me, you know, whenever you put out music and you're super embarrassed about it, cause it's like old and it's terrible. And you're like, I hope nobody hears this stuff. But then I went on eBay and I saw that my old CDs were selling for like $75. And I'm like, oh my God, people are paying $75 for like something I'm so embarrassed about. And I had to go like, you know what? It's me. I need to get over it. We're really hard on ourselves as artists, right? I think we all are. And I was like, I need to get over it, that some people just like it and some people do want it. Some people want to collect it, and I need to stop, you know, holding back, because it's keeping them from having a cool experience. It's keeping me from, you know, getting the merchandise into the hands of people that want it, rather than just in a box in my closet or my garage, you know. Ross says you can be your worst enemy for sure. Absolutely. I mean, it's hard as an artist. I mean, we rip ourselves apart. We do. We're so hard on ourselves, and we just, you know, Carrie, you were talking earlier about how you never thought you were going to be an artist, but I think the hardest part is just taking the first step, putting the song out there and going, hey, even if it only gets, you know, a small amount of plays, or even if, you know, some people love it and some people hate it, it wasn't that bad. I can release another one now. Let me try again. You know, what's the worst that's going to happen? And the great thing about this, I was reading this article the other day that I love, and it said, nobody gives a shit about you, and this is why it's great, right? And I was like, this is so funny. Okay, let me read this article. But it was talking about how so many people get sad, you know, like, nobody cares about me. I'm alone in the world. It's me against the world. But they were saying how great it is, because everyone's attention span is so small that even if you put out something bad, people forget about it by next week anyway. Like, that's what's so great about it, is like, yeah, nobody gives a shit about you. So why not just do what you want to do? If you want to release music, if you want to, you know, release music videos, and even if it's not your best work, get started. Because Russ was I released a video on him because he put out a song a week. He does like 8 million a year now. I mean, as an independent, he's just crushing it. But when he started out, he was saying that, you know, his first, you know, year, it was like his songs sometimes got 100 plays, 200 plays, you know, but he said he never compared himself to other people, just as long as he was growing. You know, the next video got 300, the next video got 400. He knew it didn't matter what everyone else is doing, as long as I'm still making progress. 1 year from now, if I just get 100 or 200 extra plays every time, you know, then it's going to continue to increase. And I think I mentioned before on the last one, for me, when I was releasing a lot of music, you know, the last few years I've mainly focused on doing shows, but back when I used to release an album like every year, I would put about 2 or 3 songs out a month. And I got to a point where, and I wasn't spending any money on advertising, not a cent, not any type of marketing, nothing. I got to a point where I was getting 2 to 10,000 listeners a day. Like I was getting a ton of plays, but I was releasing content. And sometimes it wasn't even content that I put, you know, I put my heart into it and I'd listen to it and I'd go, oh man, I don't want to put that out, but I would put it out anyway. And I'm going to tell you, every single time there was at least one person that was like, that's my new favorite song by you, you know, and you're going to get really surprised by how people react. And you're going to go, okay, that wasn't, I thought people were going to hate it, but they don't. We're just so hard on ourselves. So, yeah, Timmy says it's a trip. I commented that before you started talking about him. Yeah, he's great. Were these professional recorded 2 to 3 a month? Is, you know what, they were semi-professionally recorded. I mean, I didn't mix and master any of them. None of them were mixed and mastered at all, Robert. Not one single song. They were all decent production. They were all good enough. I think I think the biggest issue that we have is we try to make one song perfect, right? One song perfect. We can spend months and months and months trying to get this one song perfect. But what I've found has been way more valuable has been to release as much quality content as I can, but not perfect. It does need to be quality. You can't just put like shit out there and be like banging on some pans and be like, it's music. You know, you can't do that. But you know, as long as it's decent quality, as long as it's still something that can compete, you know, I like I said, I put out stuff that wasn't even mixed and mastered during that time. And I traveled all over the world. I mean, now I mix and master everything, and I'd like to, you know, keep things pretty high quality. But on my cover songs, I just record into my phone and I throw a little reverb on it and I just throw it on YouTube, because it's a lot of trouble. And you can spend so much of your time just trying to create perfect content, when your time is better spent connecting with your fans, writing them, responding to them, because those are the people that are going to support you and continue to buy everything that you put out. And that's what my friend, you know, Frankie does, the one that has the, you know, the 34 number ones on Billboard. He puts out a song every week, every single Friday, he puts out a song, and, you know, writes and produces them himself. But that's how Russ started out too. He taught himself how to write and produce and engineer and all those types of things. And he did all that himself. And when he started out, he was not great at it. He wasn't at all, but people still liked it. You know, people still really liked it. So let's see. Carrie says, if you need advice on budget equipment, hit me up on Facebook. That's really good. Actually, you know what, Carrie? Maybe we should collaborate and put together like a cool booklet on some cool home studio equipment for people with, you know, a small budget.
I would love to. This mic up here, let me show you this mic here real quick. This is a clone of a M49, which is a vintage Neumann microphone, which would cost like about 20 grand to buy a real one. But it's made by a guy in Canada who builds these for about $800. You want a Neumann U87 style microphone, he'll build you one for about $300.
Oh, wow.
And they're very accurate for the money, like ridiculous. Like I know way too much about this kind of stuff.
Okay, well then I'm gonna hit you up, Carrie. Let me take a picture of your email, because I think would that be helpful to everyone? Like, could y'all like raise your hand if that would be helpful? Yeah. Okay, cool. Because yeah, we'll have to put together maybe we can put together like a video or something, and we could do like a review of different equipment, because I have my own stuff that I use, but I just found one good thing and I use that. So I'm not like an expert on like all the mics or I'm really good with keyboards and stuff like that, but this would be really helpful. So I'll definitely contact you, and then we can create something for everybody. That'll be awesome. So Ronnie says, I love that we can do so much on our own. Mary says, yeah, my fan base has loved even my roughest mixes. I also like, I'm going to do something a little later as well. So in my website, I offer, when people buy my album, they're put through another page. I have something called a funnel, which I'll share with you guys how that works on another time. But after they buy my album, they are then asked if they want to buy something else. And one of those things that I offer is a cover song album that I did. But one thing that I've offered that I don't really see other people do, and I'm going to take it even a step further, but is I offer unreleased songs. And these are songs that I kind of don't like, that I was kind of like, I don't know about this, or it doesn't fit with, you know, the project, or it just doesn't, you know, it's kind of weird. I put together a whole album of unreleased songs. And I said, you can only get it with me. It's not on iTunes. It's not on Spotify. You're not going to find these songs anywhere else. You can only, it's exclusive, you know, for $10, you get 15 of my unreleased songs. And maybe you only have 3, or maybe you only have 5, and that's okay too. You know, just offering something like that, because your fans, they love exclusivity. They love to feel like only they can get it. So I'm going to take it further. I have all my memos that I have in my phone of me when I would write a song and I'm just kind of playing on my piano, humming it to myself. I'm going to offer that as another, like a bonus, or, hey, you can spend $5. I'm going to send you every song on this.
Did she freeze?
Oh,
But
she froze.
Oh,
Yeah.
Kate,
can you guys hear me?
You froze.
I froze.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, you're back.
I'm back. Okay. All right, great. Sorry about that. So I was just talking about how I was going to release, you know, a album just of my memo notes. But I think I told this story last week, but when The Dream wrote Umbrella, he wrote it, he went into the studio and, you know, Rihanna's Umbrella. When he wrote that song, they had the memo of him going, Ella, 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 eh, and he's just going, like, it just sounds like crap. I couldn't stop listening to it because I thought, you were genius. Like, you were creating one of the most amazing songs. Like, it had beaten so many records. It was like, had beaten Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You. It was on the charts for like 53 weeks. It was insane. But you got to hear him just kind of walk in and go, na, 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 Ella, Ella, Ella. Like, it was just kind of like all over the place. But it was so cool. And me as a fan of The Dream, me as a fan of him as a songwriter, I wanted to listen to that. That's not everyone else's cup of tea.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
Because my old boss, Shelley Yakis, used to tell me that that's what John Lennon did. He would play the most simple chord structures and sing nonsense.
Yeah.
And then, like, after, you know, like so long, when the melodies kind of were taking shape, he would then start writing lyrics really seriously.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and that's actually what I do. So that's what I do. I write melodies on piano first, and then I just start kind of going, you know, sometimes I sound like I'm speaking like Chinese, you know, it just doesn't even make any sense. But then I find melodies that I like, and then words start coming out, and then I'm like, oh, this sounds good. And then I'll continue to write on it. But these are all things, like, you want to just be as creative as you possibly can, you know, while the rest of the world is going, you know, I'm just going to put out these perfect songs. Those are also people that have record labels. Those are people that have millions of dollar budgets. So they can do certain things. For us, we want to focus on the quality of our relationships with our fans and followers, and offering them as much as we possibly can, because we're reachable. That's what they like about us. If they want an artist that they can't reach, then they're going to go follow Beyonce. But if they're following you, it's because they like the fact that they can reach you, that they can Instagram you, that they can DM you. Like, I get people where I'll just send a simple happy birthday and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you. It's the most amazing thing in the world. Look, I have a picture of you. And I didn't even know, you know, they're like, I have a poster of you on my wall. And, you know, just like big things. And now they're going to support everything that you do. And they're going to, you know, comment on everything and buy everything that you have. And just those little gestures are just really, you know, thoughtful to them. And I don't know, it's just really cool. I actually get really excited with stuff like that too. Like, it's not just about the money. It's about just kind of creating the relationship. Because I think at the end of the day, as musicians, that's kind of what we want. We want to connect with people. I've always thought of us kind of like a bunch of hippies that really, most musicians that I meet want to do something for the world with our music, right? We want to inspire people or heal people or whatever it is that we want to do. It's usually something good. I've never heard a musician go like, I just want to piss people off. You know, like usually everyone has some sort of good intentions with their music. And even if they're angry, it's, hey, let's channel our anger into our music, or, you know, it's something that's with the end goal of something positive. So I think we can do that, you know, one at a time with our fans and our followers. And that's something that a Beyonce or a Rihanna couldn't do because they have so many. Whereas us as independents, we can reach out to them. So let me see if there's anything. Andre, you said you could contribute to the guide also. Cool. You know, if you guys, I'll post something on the Facebook group. That if you guys want to offer like your reviews on some equipment and that sort of thing, we can kind of all collaborate on that. Neumann is the best mic. Let me see. Studio is one of my personal favorites. Just reading if you guys had any other questions. Ross says, I help people with the being pissed thing. Rage core, baby. That's funny. Yeah. And I wanted to, does anyone have any questions about the press releases? I saw that, let me open up the group. I saw Sequoia, I saw you posted one. And today I wanted to get into how to actually email people, how to actually reach out to them. So, and then we'll talk about how to find them and other stuff. I mean, there's so many different aspects to all this, but you know, if you already have a Facebook, I'm sorry, if you already have a press release made, I mean, this is something that most artists never even do. So you guys are doing really well. Let me open it and I'll share my screen with you guys. And if you have any questions, Silver, you said you have a question. Okay. Timmy. Oh, I know it's not Timmy. How do you even write to get in the press? I'm going to show you that here in just a second.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, my question was, so I was kind of reading it over with someone, and they were with my press release, and they were saying, so I wanted to get your opinion on it. Do I feel like I'm telling too much in the headline instead of like leaving something for like, I guess, suspicion? Like,
what's your headline say?
Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me pull it up really quickly. Because I end up going with the I end up just doing more of a headline, which you said you liked before, just telling about my story about the well, I have two because but I'll go to that one really quick. Where is it? So I just went with the one about me, quitting my job and everything, but it's Cleveland artist releasing a song. She quit her $80,000 corporate job to make should she have quit her day job.
What was the first line that you said?
Cleveland artist releasing a song. She quit her $80,000 corporate job to make, basically.
I think it's a great headline. I mean, that's my thoughts. That would make me want to read it because you're saying what is interesting that's going to grab you, and then in the article you can break down more about it. I remember your press release from last week. So that's my personal thoughts. If you just put, you know, Cleveland artist releases a song, that's not, you know, going to grab people's attention.
Okay. Yes, he was more saying like Cleveland song. He said this. I said the unthinkable is little because it's not that unthinkable, but he has said like Cleveland artist does the unthinkable to promote her new song, and I was like, well, I feel like they get a lot of stuff like that with people trying to like clickbait them, so maybe not. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, does he have experience with this? I mean, has he written?
No, I was just curious. I'm not really. It's not really because of him. I was just curious if what you thought about it. I just wanted to get your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the unthinkable. I mean, that, you know, that could be that you know, wore panties on your head in the music video. I mean, it doesn't really mean it like it's going to be like exciting, you know. So, and
I was thinking for subject line, like I was thinking if it's going to be the subject line, then if a journalist might have already, they might get stuff like that all the time, but that kind of tells them exactly what they're going to look at. So I'd rather click on that than the unthinkable because that might be clickbait, or you know what I mean?
So I've mentioned before that you can offer ways to get people curious, but I would just say that that's not the best way to execute it. Like maybe something different would be like, I had used something before where I had said, you know, like guy's girlfriend cheats on him, he releases freestyle rap, you know, this is how he responded, or something like that, you know. So something where you're offering something like, and that's probably not the best way to word it, but you know, like guy's best friend steals girlfriend, this is how he responded in his lyrics, right? So that kind of like putting like, this is how he responded, that offers some curiosity. But you also said something at the very beginning that was more interesting, you know, hey, this guy's best friend stole his girlfriend, you know what I mean? Whoa, I wonder what he said, you know, something like that. You can use the whole curiosity aspect. You know, I mentioned before that when, you know, most of you have signed up because you came to my webinar, and on my webinar, on my headline, I put the one thing I've used to get myself published on, you know, magazines and websites and that sort of thing. That created some, you know, curiosity, but I added, you know, without a record label, without a manager, without a hit song, you know, without those things. So you can create curiosity, but just make sure it's not something that's been overused. So I think you were right in your thoughts on that, that it's probably just overused now with the unthinkable, because what is that, you know? So good. And then let me see if there's any other questions. Isabella, you said I made my first attempt at a press release. Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to post it in the Facebook group? And then I can take a look at it. And then I'm about to get into how to write an email. And do you guys have any other questions? Are you guys trying to work through anything else in your press releases or anything else that you have going on before I jump into this? Okay, Isabella. Yeah, if you put it in the Facebook group, it's just a little easier for me, because sometimes I can't see the chat because I go back and forth between the group. I'm looking at a few things. Okay, perfect. All right, so as you're posting that, I'm going to get into the emails. And, you know, with this, I'm just going to give you guys a template. You don't have to follow this, but if you follow this, it's great. I mean, you can copy it word for word if you want and just input your information. I've written things out in, you know, lots of different ways, but I'm just going to show you how I've done this. Now, one thing that you want to keep in mind, what I don't recommend is I don't recommend sending one generic email to everybody, because they can tell that it's a generic email. I get that it takes time, you know, it does take time to write out an email to each person, but you don't have to write out the entire email customized. Just if you can offer a little bit of something that shows that you maybe did a little bit of research on the blog, did a little bit of research on the website, or, you know, just a little bit about them, it's going to make a big difference. Because I always get a lot of people that go, man, I sent out 1,000 emails and, you know, just my email says, hey, check out my song. You should host, you know, post my music, or, you know, that sort of thing. They sent out one generic email. The email wasn't even written out right, but they think that because they sent it out to 1,000 emails, that they're going to get results. And it doesn't work that way, right? We want to send out something quality, something, you know, slightly customized to each avenue that we're reaching out to. So what I recommend is, as we're thinking about our press release, first we think about, you know, who we're going to reach out to. And we're probably going to talk about that next week. But I'll just give you a quick kind of preview of that. You know, I mentioned my story about being maybe I'm going to use the angle that I was, you know, a single mom. And maybe there's a song that I wrote about, you know, succeeding through that, you know, going through the hardships of COVID, going through all of that while still creating music. So maybe that's a story that I'm going to save for a blog that supports mothers, right? Maybe there's a blog that they love, artistic, you know, moms, creatives, parents, you know, there's tons of blogs and forums and stuff like that. So I'm going to create a press release that's customized to them. I'm going to mention that I'm a mom. I'm going to mention those things. But maybe for another website that features just music videos, I'm probably not going to focus on that, because they're more focused on the music video. They're focused on the story of the music video. So maybe I'll get into more of that. So if you just think about, you know, each of the places that you're reaching out to, think about what would get their attention most. Think about what they care about. Because if you know what they care about and you've done a little bit of research about their blog or their website or their Spotify playlist, whatever it is, then you can customize your email, you know. And what I mean by that, again, is like, let's say you're a rock band and you sound like the Black Keys. I love the Black Keys, by the way. And, you know, and you go to a website and they've posted stuff from the Black Keys or Arctic Monkeys or any of those types of bands. You've noticed that. So now you can tell them, hey, I saw that you posted music from the Black Keys and Arctic Monkeys. Man, those are some of my favorites. I think you might like my band as well. I would love it if you took a listen. And then you get into, by the way, I just also released a music video. I would love it if you'd review my album. Here's my press release. Here's my links, that sort of thing. So if you do just a little bit of research on each of these venues, it'll definitely give you an advantage. And we're gonna get into more of that about that probably next week. So, but I am gonna show you in your, let me share my screen really quick. How do I share it? I always forget. Share screen. Okay, here we go. In your membership platform, there's a mini course there at the bottom that says how to get my music published in media. And this is in there. I actually made some adjustments to it to make it even more kind of thorough. So these are all in there. And I'll also send out, this is recording. I have this recording today. I'll send this out as well. And feel free to like take a screenshot if you want of this, or take a picture with your phone so that you can use this as a template later. You know, whenever we start writing out our emails, this is good for us to have our emails ready. You know, and then when we start researching these venues, then we can just copy and paste and then just change a few little things in the email to make it more personal. So I wrote this one out. It's just a request for a review. Let's say you're releasing an album or a single or a music video and you wanted someone to review your album. You know, then I put, you know, hi, so-and-so, you know, if you know the person that you're reaching out to or the blog. And, you know, my name is Andy. I'm the front man of our band, The Cereal Boxes. That's just a band that I made up. I thought that'd be a cool band name. We wanted to submit our music to see if you might be interested, let me fix that, in giving our new album, Songs About Life, a review or an interview for your publication. Now, here's the personal thing that I added, right? We noticed in your blog that you publish other rock bands that are similar to ours, so we thought it would be a good fit. We love the article that you did on insert band name here, and really admire the opportunity you give to artists to get some exposure. And if you know, if you read that article, you could even go as far as to say, hey, and what you said specifically about XYZ, man, that really resonated with me. Or, hey, I saw that you wrote an article on such and such, you know, music video. I felt the same way. It's a great song, right? Something that you can give just a little bit to show that this isn't a generic email that you're sending out to everybody, because it's going to go a long way whenever they read it. Because someone that has a blog, you know, if they just know that people are trying to get something for themselves, you know, every artist is trying to promote themselves, get media attention. They're just going to think that, you know, this is just someone asking for something. You know, they don't really care about my blog. If they feel like you're an actual reader, it's going to make a big difference, you know. And then I wrote, you know, we make rock music, we play all our own instruments, and have been touring the US for the last 6 months, performing in local bars and pubs. Would love it if you take a listen to our music. So if you could just offer a little personal, you know, if there's something cool that you did, you know, I mentioned you can pull a little something from your press release. You know, I recorded all my music in my closet. You know, this is going to be more personal. This doesn't have to be like all professional and, you know, seem like a business meeting. I've had more success when I'm kind of just more friendly and, hey, I just really love, you know, the site, or giving some sort of compliment on something that they've done that doesn't seem like you're just saying it. Because I see some people on my post, it's like, great content. And I know that's just a bot, you know, posting on my photos and videos. You don't want to seem like you're also inauthentically reaching out. Check out their blog, check out their website a little bit, check out some of their articles, and give them a little something. So here we also made a short video talking about how we recorded our album with money we made from selling cereal boxes, right? It gives them a little bit of a personal story about what you've done. So however you financed it, you know, or you know, if you recorded it at your grandma's house, or, you know, just something interesting about it, just have a little line or two. And if you'd like to know more, here's a link to that video. And I'm not sure if I did a crowdfunding campaign a while back. I did a 25 city tour around the US, and I had done some crowdfunding so that I could buy toys for the kids, because I was performing for kids and giving toys and stuff. And I did a video. So on top of me sending a press release, on top of me sending out an email, I made a video to talk about why I was doing what I was doing. So that press release can get really like, it can talk about some of the, hardships that we've been through or some of the things that we've overcome. But if you can create a video at the same time, and I can probably pull it up if you guys want to see it. Would you guys want to see that? And this is this was for a crowdfunding campaign. So let's say you were trying to get published. Let me see if I have it.
Kristine, please can you let me in? I need to step away from my computer, so I'm switching to my phone.
Oh, sure.
Waiting
Let
for
me,
you to let me in. Thank you so much.
Okay, there you are. Sorry, when I'm sharing my screen, it doesn't let me see. Okay, there we go. It was called, there it is right there. Can you guys, I'm gonna play this, and then I'll stop it, and then let me know if you can even hear it. And I believe that we each can change the world. Can you guys hear that or no? Yeah? Okay, I'll just play like a minute or two or something of this so you can kind of see this. Again, I rented out a small studio for like 25 bucks an hour, and I maybe spent like 2 hours on this, and me and my friend shot it. And I added some music in the background. I did some things. This kind of stuff goes a long way. Put the time into it. Everyone always says there's two things you're gonna have to do to be successful, and that's either spend a lot of time or a lot of money, right? So sure, you could pay, all these news stations and articles to publish your stuff, or you could spend the time to really sell yourself. And what I did was I spent the time. So this was a video that I spent a couple hours on, and then I edited. And so this was, I'll play it for you guys. Hi, my name is Kristine Mirelle, and I believe that we each can change the world. It started when I was a young girl, and I used to watch the commercials that showed the kids that didn't have enough food to eat, or they were living in poverty in all these other countries. Fast forward to when I'm in my early 20s now, and I had just gotten out of these physically abusive relationships, and I allowed it to really affect my self-image. I didn't have any self-esteem. I didn't value myself. And I had allowed the lack of love I had in my previous relationships to really define what I should expect from people in my future relationships. I left to South Africa. I worked in schools, I worked in refugee centers, and I worked in a retirement home. It was an experience for me because I shared my stories with them and they shared theirs with me. What was so beautiful about this was I went out with this idea that I was going to change the world for the better. But in turn, I realized that the world was changing me for the better. I volunteered in other countries. I went to South America, Peru. So I'm going to stop it just for a second so I can share with you guys what I'm doing here. I'm setting up the story first. I'm setting up the story of how I'm about to tell you that I'm about to go on tour and trying to get people to go to my crowdfunding. So I'm creating that story that we always talk about, right? I'm not saying, hey, I'm doing a crowdfunding campaign. Instead, I'm bringing people in. I'm bringing people in to get to know me so they understand why I'm doing this. Why are you releasing that song? Is it because you were scared your whole life and you're finally going to do it? Is it because you've been battling with, different, mental health issues? Is it because of the loss of a family member? Or is it just a comedic thing? Is it because, man, I always use that she thinks my tractor's sexy thing. I mean, it could be a funny thing. A lot of you guys have seen my ads. I do everything with comedy in there. This one's just more heartfelt because I was doing more charity stuff. But build your story if you want to do a type of video. But I'm just sharing this with you guys, and we're going to get into more about how to create this another time, but I just wanted you to see it. I'm going to fast forward a little bit so that you guys don't have to sit through all of it. Transformed. They said when we told them these children in such little time, United States. There we go. This year. So after I mention what my experience created, after I tell my story, then I say I'm about to go on tour. And that's why later this year, we're going to be traveling 6,000 miles across the United States. We're going to go to schools. We're going to go to retirement homes. We're going to go to boys and girls clubs. We're going to teach. We're going to perform. We're going to talk to the kids about chasing their true passions and how important it is to leave the world better than how we found it. When I left to these countries, I wasn't looking for a way to fix my own personal issues. I was just looking to help. But what was amazing was, so I'll fast forward to the end here. Yourself. It's how you find yourself. I
I think we're all just trying to figure out why we're here. What's the meaning of our life? What's our purpose? And I don't think it's too bold to think that we can't do what we love while we inspire change. We all have the power to do this. And I know that it just starts with you and it starts with me. And we can do whatever it is that we believe we can. I believe in us. And I believe in what we can do together.
So then I give them the call to action and so I put together this whole video. This doesn't have to be a huge production for you guys. This can be a great video of you at home where you're going, hey, look, this is the studio where I created my album. This is my grandma. Hey, grandma, say hi to the camera. And she's like, hey, great kids. Like that kind of stuff is great. Like it doesn't have to be, this was a full production, but I didn't always do this kind of stuff. So I don't want anybody to feel like, well, man, I don't know how to do all that. It doesn't have to be this whole full music stuff. It could just be a you video showing where you recorded it, showing some pictures of, hey, look, this was my, my brother. He was my best friend and he always told me to believe in myself and I'm finally going to go out there and here's a song that, he would always play and grandma, come sing it with me or, just something that's really fun that gets people to really get to know you. Having a video is really great too. So that's why I put that in this press release. I made a video that said here, where did I put it? Here's a link to that video, right? We made a short video talking about how we recorded our album with the money we made from cereal boxes. If you're a band, hey, this is Bob, Bob plays the drums. This is Barry, he plays the bass guitar. Hey, Bob, hey, Barry, look, show them the cereal boxes that we sold so that we can make enough money to, create our album. Something like that goes so far. Or like, this is the neighborhood that I grew up in. Check this out, isn't this crazy? Like that kind of stuff is really cool. So if you can create something like a short video of you also trying to connect to, the TV station or the magazine or the website that you're reaching out to, it goes a really long way. Even if it's just a selfie video of you like, look, let me just show you this, be outgoing, be personable and show them like something real because they don't get that. They get a lot of people trying to pretend that they are bigger than life. They've gotten the same, hey, I'm the best thing ever. I'm the most amazing artist in the world. They get that kind of stuff all the time. And so when they get someone that kind of just humbly shows up and is just like, hey, the reality is my microphone's in my closet. I just shot, but this is what I did. This is how I did it. And I'm following my dream. People love that. People really, really love that. So I would encourage that. And maybe we'll even do actually, that would be a good idea. Maybe if we did like a workshop where we could create a video step by step, maybe something like that together would be kind of cool. So that's why I put that in there. But the email's pretty short. Please let me know if you need any more information about the band. Below is some additional information as well. Thank you again for your time. Don't put a ton of links. Remember, don't put like a link to every music video and every performance that you've ever done. You have your website, any relevant media. If you're promoting a music video, you can put it there and you put your promo content. But, the other thing is your Dropbox link. This is where you would put your, and we mentioned last time, and if you're just joining us, Dropbox's service, I know most people are familiar with it, but where you could go into Dropbox, create a folder, put your songs in there, your press release, your music video, high resolution photos, and you send them one link to that, right? Dropbox link. So this has stuff if they want to quickly take a look at it, and you can put, and hope to hear from you soon, and you can put, I included Dropbox link with my music video, or this one's for a band, so I'll put with our music video, high res photos, press release, and bio. Something like that. So you're letting them know that you're not putting all the information on the email so it looks like they have to read an essay. But if they're interested, they might click really quick on your music video to see if they like it. And then if they like it, then they'll look more into your Dropbox link. You just don't want to bombard them with too much. After you send them the initial, introduction, you're then going to want to follow up because you want to send them a follow-up email and just make sure they got it. And if you're following them on social media, Instagram, Facebook, hit them up. Try, what I don't recommend is going, hey, are you going to publish my songs? Like, hey, I sent you something. I haven't heard a response from you. I get stuff like that. Sometimes I'll get a text message and someone within like 2 hours, they're like, I haven't heard from you. I'm like, it's been 2 hours, like chill out, man. You know, so I recommend giving them a few days because, you know, maybe they're busy, everybody has life going on, but definitely follow up with them because sometimes they may just, you know, maybe they opened it and they told themselves they were going to check it out and maybe they didn't even check it out. You know, maybe they were just like, oh man, I'll check this out later, and they forgot to check it out. So don't get discouraged. Too, if people don't write back, people don't write back unless they want to include you. So if they don't write back, it's usually there's a couple things. Like I said, one, they may not even have reviewed your music. It may have gone to their spam folder, depending on their you know, settings. Depending if you're attaching anything, if you're attaching music and attaching photos and attaching stuff like that, some of these websites and blogs, it immediately goes to spam. They won't even look at it. That's why it's so important for you to just include links and not attach anything to the emails, because you want to at least give yourself the opportunity to be seen and heard. You don't want to end up in their spam folder. So make sure to send those links. But, and then second, you know, if they don't want to include it, if they do take a look at it, they're not going to respond. They don't have time. You know, they're getting other responses. They don't have time to tell you why or why not. But I'll tell you, when I first started out, when people did respond and say, hey, we're, you know, because I did get the occasional, hey, this doesn't really fit, you know, our website or our content, I would ask, why not? You know, I would say, hey, well, because they already responded, right? So I'd send a response and say, hey, could you help me? You know, I'm always trying to grow as an artist. Is there anything particular that I could work on? And that always helped me in always looking at myself as like a student. You know, we're always learning. We never know it all, and things are always changing. There's always a new social media platform. You know, the new, you know, generations like different types of music. You know, there's always new things. So if we always think, you know, just have that mentality that we're a student, then, you know, we can learn. And then also though, understand that just because they don't like it, it doesn't mean it's not good. You know, maybe they don't like it and they don't want to publish it, but that doesn't mean it's not awesome. It just may not work for them. And then the last thing that we want to consider is maybe the song really isn't awesome. Maybe we need to work on it. You know, there's that too, as artists looking at our work constructively and going, okay, do I need to, you know, do I need to spend a little bit more time? Maybe I need to work with, you know, better producers, or spend a little bit more money on the artwork and the presentation and, you know, that sort of thing. Or maybe I need to hire someone to write my press release. Those types of things are important too, to look at, to try to figure out what the issue is. I'm going to see, do you guys have any questions so far? Let me see here. Let's see.
I have a question.
Sure.
Sorry, let me think about. I had like 2 questions. I was trying to articulate which one. Let's come back to it. Sorry.
Okay. I'll look at some of the other questions here.
Okay.
Isabella said your dad couldn't upload it to the Facebook group. It should be, if it's too big, maybe you just need to make it smaller. Oh, you know what it is? I'm sorry. You have to post it and then I have to accept it. So let me see. Oh, it doesn't show that anything's pending though. So I'm not sure what the issue is, Isabella. Let me see, hold on. This really quick. Okay, so you had a good question. So hypothetically, if the way you came up isn't too media friendly, how you finance things with selling drugs, etc., what advice do you give in those situations? Okay, so there's a great way to position this. You don't want to go, hey, I paid for my album by selling cocaine. Like, that's not a great way to go for it, right? But hopefully, if that's not a situation for you anymore, you know, then to be able to say, you know, from, you know, how would you put it? From, you know, getting into trouble, maybe not even getting into trouble, but from illegal, you know, situations to pursuing a music career. Absolutely. This artist has, you know, overcome his own challenges. Like something like you've, you know, moved on from that. Hopefully you've moved on from that. If you haven't moved on from that, you don't want to be sharing that anyway, right? You don't want that attention. So, but it, you know, if you have, then you could say, hey, I went from here. This is where I started and this is where I ended. This is my story. So, you know, young teen in Chicago breaks, you know, everyone said all he was ever going to amount to was nothing, you know, started his life as a drug dealer and now puts out his first album, you know, something like that, where it's more of a, hey, I overcame some stuff, you know, like everybody has a past, stuff happens, you know, and so I think positioning it in that way would be probably the best way to do that. Yeah, Silver says from street hustling to street performing. That's great.
Love that.
That's a great one. That sounds really, really great. So I have there's a client that I work with. He sells perfume and he is hilarious. I mean, I'll have to just share with you guys on the Facebook group because it's ridiculous perfume in Cologne. It all has like ridiculous names, like he has one called Polished Turd. It's like a poop with like diamonds on it, and like it's a cologne. People like buy a ton of it. Like it's just ridiculous. But he has this like trailers, and he's always like, he has these grills, and he's not even acting. This is just who he is. He's like, I just took all the stuff I learned when selling cocaine, and now I just sell my fragrances that way. Because what he does is he sells his fragrances on the street. They sell it out of the trunk, and they, you know, he has people that basically all these people that sell his perfumes all over the country. They love this stuff. I mean, he's like, you know, he's been on Showtime and everything because he's just this crazy character. So he really took his past and said, yes, that's my past, but that's not who I am anymore. And that made him even more interesting because it's like he's turned everything he learned in that game, but now he does it with cologne and perfumes. And, you know, it's pretty cool. And he's very, very successful. He's a multimillionaire. So he does really well. But Sechi, did you remember your question?
Yes. So how do I follow up on the press release I had sent out? So I had sent out a number of press releases before the release of my music video.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear back from any of them, and all of them were personalized. But I want to send out new ones to some other people I didn't get a chance to send to, but I want to send to the ones I had sent out to before. Follow up. How do I follow up?
Okay, so a couple things first. Did you send your music video to them whenever you reached out to them?
Yes.
You did? Okay, good. And
Yeah.
you sent it in the links and everything? You didn't send it attached or anything like that?
Right, I sent the link. So I sent the link. I had published it, but as unlisted.
Mm-hmm.
So they had access to it, and then I made it public a few days later.
Okay, and then what kind of outlets did you reach out to?
I reached out to local news outlets.
Oops, I'm kind of losing you in the audio. I don't know if...
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I mostly reached out to local news outlets and then some country-specific outlets because it's a country song. It's a mixture of country. I call it Afro country fusion. I haven't heard that before, but that's
cool. That's
what I would classify it as the genre. Because it's a mixture of Afro-pop and country.
So a couple things with that. If you're reaching out to news stations, it needs to be news, right? Releasing a single is not news. So it would have to be something that's relevant to something that's happening locally. Like if you're performing at something that's coming up, you know, locally, if, you know, you've been donating, you know, I mentioned the one guy that just got on CW, he was donating masks to the hospital there. That's why they featured him there, because they said, oh, this guy, despite COVID, he's, you know, he's releasing music, but more importantly, during all this, you know, struggle, he's making masks and taking some of the proceeds that he's making to help keep people safe in the medical industry. Just releasing a song will not get you on news stations. It has to be something that is relevant to the news, right? Because if that were the case, they would just include a lot of musicians. So if that means you need to position yourself to do something cool, you know, I told you guys that I did one where I was performing at like a homecoming for Iraqi soldiers. So I got in the news in that way. You know, I reached out to the news and said, hey, I'm performing at a homecoming. That's news because the homecoming is news. And now I'm kind of just piggybacking off of that and going, oh, and by the way, I'm performing there. And this is the song that I'll be performing. So it's combining something that is newsworthy with the music. The music itself is not news. Okay. So that's what we always want.
Even though they have like entertainment sections.
If it's online, so if it's the TV station, usually a news station, you have to have something really big going on with that. If it's their website, it's a little bit easier for, you know, to get published on like Fox, NBC, CBS, because they publish a lot more stuff happening locally. I would just say, you know, you can I guess I really loved your positioning, you know, because I read it last week. I loved that you're doing, you're not the typical country artist. Like you have a really cool story with it. I think it probably just has to do with the actual press release, which I would say if you could post that again, because I know we kind of looked over it last week, maybe let's look at it. But it also depends on how many people you reach out to. So if you're reaching out to major networks, your chances of getting published are a lot smaller. If you're reaching out to smaller networks, it's a lot easier. And as you start out, what's really good is if you're just starting out and you don't have any big, published material, go for some of the smaller websites and blogs first. And then what you do is you use those websites and blogs as a cosign. So you go, hey, I just got published in such and such weekly, such and such website, such and such this. Would you be interested in publishing me? Because now you've been given this, you have a cosign there. If you're just starting out, going straight for the big ones is going to be a lot more difficult. It's not to say that it can't happen, but it's just going to be harder. A better strategy would be, hey, let me reach out to some of these smaller, country music blogs, some of these smaller websites first. And then I can take their screenshots. I can post the pictures. I can post links to the article in my website. And now I'm building up, my credibility as an artist. So I would recommend that first. If
so should I when I reposition myself, should I just reach out to those people afresh instead of try to follow up on the last one?
You can definitely follow up. Absolutely. Yeah, you've already reached out to them. Absolutely follow up. And then continue to find some of those other smaller ones as well. And that's the thing too, is just because they've said no the first time, it doesn't mean that you can't reach out to them again. Because that's happened for me when I was trying to get endorsements. Like I got an endorsement by Yamaha and they rejected me like twice. And then the third time I reached out to them, they said yes. And I ended up with this amazing endorsement from Yamaha. It's very hard to get an endorsement from Yamaha, but I just kept on, I did reposition myself each time. The first time I reached out to them, I said, hey, I have all this music, I do shows and that sort of thing. And they were like, nope. And then I reached out to them again because I was doing some more shows and they said no. The third time I talked to them about my tour that I was going on and that I was going to be using their products while on tour. And they said yes. Same thing with media outlets. They may not find that your album is interesting enough for them right now because they're promoting some of the bigger artists or some of the bigger people that are already getting 1 million views or whatnot. But if you can position yourself to where eventually you have a list of all these other publications that have published you, then absolutely it'll help you. So follow up with them and then start reaching out to some of the smaller ones as well.
Okay, and just another follow-up question, since you mentioned endorsements, I got an endorsement from a journalist at Rolling Stone, but
Okay.
it was in a private email, He said, let me write you an endorsement you can include in your press release.
Okay, you're talking about a different kind of endorsement. Okay.
Yeah, can I do anything with that endorsement on its own? Because right now it's hidden in the press release, and if someone doesn't even read the press release to get down to the bottom and read the endorsements, then I've not really leveraged that. Is there anything?
I would put it at the very top. What if he said, hey, her album is amazing and unique, I would put that in its own quotations and real big, because be able to put the Rolling Stone, I'd even use the Rolling Stone logo. I'd put the logo on my press release, that's because
Really?
yeah, absolutely. Like if you have something like that, put it, Rolling Stone says, and here's a Rolling Stone logo, her album is incredible. Absolutely. If you have anything
Okay.
like that, because
Even though he didn't publish an article saying that, he wrote me an email saying that.
If he's a Rolling Stone author and he's a
Yes.
published author, then yeah, then that's
Okay.
it's a maybe if it wasn't published.
And he signed it with his name and then Rolling Stone.
Yeah, I mean, it has the Rolling Stone logo on it on the letterhead, or?
Well, in what he gave me the quote, he put the quote and then he put his name and put Rolling Stone.
Just like in a message.
Yeah.
Okay. That one's kind of hard. If it wasn't published, then no, I wouldn't say to use the logo, but I would say you would use his quote and then you'd put, Bert Smith, Rolling Stone author is what you would put. So you might not put the logo now, because sorry, I thought that he published it. If he didn't publish it, then just put what he said and then put dash Rolling Stone, author or contributing author, something like that. But I mean, that's still very powerful. So absolutely use that. The endorsements that I was referring to is
Mhm.
it's a little different. I was referring to when a company gives you products and that sort of thing. So,
Okay.
but they're both they're both helpful. So with yours, him saying that, absolutely put it on the top of the page, put it real big, put it in italicized quotation marks, and put that up there for sure.
Okay.
Okay, Isabella, you said you think he was able to post in the Facebook group. Okay, I'll check it here in just a second. I did, let me share the screen here. Share. Here is a follow-up, an example of a follow-up of the album, on an album request, which I will, it's like I said, this is in the media kit inside your membership platform. When you go in there, when you log in, on the bottom, there's a course that says how to get your music published in media. This is all in there. Okay. So if for any reason you guys don't take a screenshot of this, this will be in there, but this is an example of a follow-up. So you would just write them again, be friendly, don't act mad at them. Hey, I sent you something. I saw that you read it in your DMs, but you didn't respond. Don't say anything like that. Cause I get stuff like that. I'm like, well, now I'm really not going to respond, and you're blocked, so always be really friendly with them. Tell them you're, following up with them. Again, treat it almost like they never got the first email. Reiterate who you are. Don't just say, hey, did you get my last email? They're not going to remember who you are, even if they did, because they're getting other submissions. So reintroduce yourself. You can summarize, hey, I did send a short letter, but we've been avid readers of your blog. This is your personalized thing. I had mentioned in the previous email that your article on such and such was incredible. We've always liked how honest you are with reviews of albums and bands and your sense of humor, even when you don't like something. This is just an example that I used. And, I'd be happy to provide any other info. I'm also available for interviews as well. And then if you have a video that you made, like that I told you about, here's me and my grandma, or this is where I recorded my album or whatnot, you could include that again. Send it all again. Don't just send them, hey, did you get my last email? Can you check my last email? Because you want to make it as easy as possible for them. You don't want them to have to go back into, let me move this really quick. You don't want them to have to go back into previous emails to look for your email, because that's just going to be a lot of trouble. So, and then I included like a request if you're, trying to get someone to come check out your show. Here's a request for a live show. I mean, these are all on there. I just wanted to kind of go over like a sample. You don't have to think too hard about it. Just give them something where you introduce, again, who, what, when, where, right? And, give them a little personalized thing to let them know that you check out their blog, that you read their website, that you noticed that they like other artists like you and why they should check you out as well. So I think that that's a pretty easy template. And like I said, you guys can pretty much take this and then just customize it if you want. If you want to take a screenshot or whatnot, and just customize it, and then you put in your links. And it's pretty simple, I think. I mean, is that pretty easy for everyone to understand? Seche says, Silver, who wrote your PR? It's so good. The use of language is so clever. Which press release are you talking about? I usually write all my own stuff. So actually, yeah, whichever one you read, I wrote. But thank you, Seche. I appreciate that.
I have a question. Did you see this is Silver. Did you see my I had posted a question about if we were going to go over specific ones for local news, and like if we want local news and what did I say? Local news and radio.
Okay. You're talking about how to reach out to them?
Yeah, like cuz I don't know if what's too soon, what's too early and what's too late for like a local news or like a radio station to tell them, because really quickly, I'll just tell you what my idea was, my idea that I have that I'm going to do, just in case you have any input on it. But well, as you know, with the PR, I already sacrificed a lot for the music, and I want to go a step further. So I have this idea, like I'm kind of selling, well, I'm selling like everything I own. And my boyfriend, he's a musician, he's an audio engineer. So we're just going to go around. We found a way to kind of like get housing for like a month or two in a city, and we're going to go around, and we want to like kind of tour the states, but like do some street performing, get some interviews and radios while we're there. So that way it's kind of like a we're trying to get an angle to like get it, but that's kind of the story. It's like we're going homeless to promote our album and tour around the states, and I mean we're coming up with more stuff with it, but that's what we're projecting on doing. So I'm thinking like maybe a local radio, or I mean a local news will maybe find something interested about it, but yeah.
No, that's okay. So first, that's awesome. You already have a great story, so that's perfect. You have to have that. That's a great story. I love everything that you doing with that. Two, radio stations, absolutely. So when you reach out to them, always think about, again, even with the great story and everything, you want to give them something. So especially if you're going through small cities, those are going to be a lot easier to get on radio as well. Especially if you're just starting out. You can offer to also give away things on the air. So, hey, we'll give you 5 albums to give away on the air, so that way they know when they go on their radio broadcast, they're going to go on there and go, hey, we got Silver's coming through here. She just sold everything she owned. She's touring through our city. Not only that, she's performing at such and such bar tonight, right? There needs to be something as well going on. Like if you're performing in that city, she's performing at Bob's Bar tonight. She's bringing 5 albums. We're giving away 5 albums on the air. We're going to be talking to her about something that she did that is, that most artists would be so scared of doing. She gave up her $80,000 a year job to pursue a dream. That just sounds like doesn't that sound like a good, radio pitch? So if you're giving away something and you're letting them know that you're performing at somewhere locally, then it becomes local news because you're about to perform. And the radio is a little bit easier to get on than like television. So I would in that way for radio. TV is a little bit harder. There usually has to be something a little, bit bigger with that. I had reached out to United Way when I did one of my tours. So whenever I got on, I think it was NBC, I was able to say, hey, I'm donating a certain amount of the profits to United Way. So a lot of stuff, like if you're doing something with charity, it's great because 1, it's charity, you're helping make the world a better place. And 2, it helps you as an artist as well, to bring more attention to a good cause, and you're combining your music with making an impact. So that's always a good thing too, to be able to do that. And most musicians I know want to make an impact, like I mentioned before. And this is how you can do that. You can literally just call up United Way. You can literally just call, that's what I did. You can call up any of these places. You don't have to be a big artist and just say, hey, I would like to pledge a certain, 20% of what I make off of XYZ, off of my albums or off of my, shows coming up. Is that okay if I, let the radio stations and TV stations know that I'm going to be pledging a certain amount of money to your local organization, reach out to the local division of that United Way or local division of that charity. And then they may even help you too. They may even help you as well. They may go, oh man, we know Bob over at the radio. We're going to call Bob, let's get Bob to support this. So there's always, just look at how you can position it in as many ways as possible to bring as many factors in that make it interesting. So the story is interesting, you're giving away albums, and you're performing locally. All of that together is definitely radio worthy. That's definitely radio worthy. TV, it kind of depends on how much competition you have there, because there's a lot of people spending money as well.
Thank you. That was very helpful. Maybe I'll try to tie something in with like I think I was you kind of read it before, but I know you might not remember. But that's kind of my thing as an artist, is like promoting people to follow their dreams. So maybe I can find some way to make it charitable where I donate to somebody's dream or something like that. So yeah.
I spoke to and right now I don't know how much they're allowing this. I think the schools are closed right now for that. But even if you did like a live performance for a classroom, of a choir class or an orchestra class or something like that, that's what I did. I performed for free for kids in the schools. So I performed for free during the day. And then at night I would go perform at casinos or bars or restaurants and that sort of thing. That was a story. When I would tell them, hey, I'm performing for a YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, or such and such elementary school for free. That was my charity that I was giving. And then not only that, I'm performing at the casino tonight for everyone that wants to come and dance. That type of stuff was really fun. So you could also look into just reaching out to some of the schools. And I just called directly to the schools and said, this is what I want to do. What do you think about it? Here's my video. I treated them just like a media, person. Who do I contact? And when they'd give me their email, I would send them my email with my video that I made where I'm like, here I am, I just want to help kids. You know, I showed you guys some of the video that I had done that was a little bit more on the sentimental side. But you send them your video and then they're going to get connected with you, and then they'll decide yes or no whether they want you to perform for the kids. What teacher's going to not want, you know, someone to perform for their children? They get a little break, you know, you perform for the kids for 10 minutes and, you know, let them know what, you know, adventure you're on traveling across the United States. It's exciting. So I something like that could work really well for you as well.
Hey, Kristine, sorry,
Oh.
I've got to go because of a different conflict. I sent you 2 DMs about it.
Okay.
I've got something going on that's for promoting my record.
No worries.
But please email me about the gear thing.
Yep.
And next week I will make sure that I can stay for a whole thing. I'm really sorry.
It's totally fine. Go promote yourself. That's the whole
All right.
point, right?
I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks so much, Carrie.
All right.
Oh,
Bye, guys.
and Chris,
Yep.
bye. I just noticed you didn't do the timeline, the question about the timeline. So if I was gonna reach out to the radio station or the even local news, like how far in advance do you think I should do it, I guess?
I reached out 3 months in advance. But you could probably swing anywhere, like 4 to 8 weeks is probably like a safe place to reach out. Definitely give it some time because they plan out their whole month in advance. Some of these TV stations have entertainment sections where they bring in featured artists, you know, so that's if you find a station that has that where they feature local artists, that's a great opportunity as well. And they're going to want to feature you, especially if you're doing something for the community, because it's community news, right? You're performing for the school or you're performing at a bar or whatever, and you're traveling through. I mean, it's cool. So yeah, I would say anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks to be safe. I've done up to 12 weeks. So I don't know what happened here. Okay. Let's see here. Chris, I'm on my Zoom account. See if there's any other questions. Then I'm going to go to Isabella's press release. Okay, cool. All right. I hope that answered your question. And let me share my screen. Hold on 1 second. Okay, there we go. All right. Isabella, you know what? It's still not. Where did you guys post it? Let me see. Oh, there it goes. Okay, pending post. Approve. Okay, let me see. Oops. I always forget how to do this. Hold on. Sorry, it's going to be a little slow because, oh, there it goes right there. Okay. Oh, so you posted, okay. Teen refuses to submit to COVID. Only 13 years old, veteran actor Isabella Blythe, also known as her stage name Bella, has remained resilient amidst a global pandemic, with the entertainment industry being virtually shut down. This actor refuses to take a knee as the pandemic threatens to kill her creativity. Rather than taking a back seat, Bella has taken control of her flourishing career and released her pop single, Uh-Oh, on all streaming platforms. I think this is a cool, this looks really good. You have such a great headshot, Bella, and I love this font. I'm pretty sure you did that in Canva. I think this looks really good. I do think the headline, it doesn't necessarily, when someone reads it, they're not sure what you do, right? They don't know if you're a ceramic, you make pottery. They don't know if you make t-shirts or something like that. So something like this, and I think last week we had talked about, I think we had come up with a headline like middle school by day or, an artist by night or, something like that. I definitely think you should play off the, whole, that you're 13. I think it's amazing that you're releasing music and you're so active, and it's awesome that you're also, an actress. I just think that there's a more catchy like headline that you could use instead of, just because it's not clear, it's not clear what you do. Did someone want to say something? I think it kind of broke.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you have I'd have to think about, yours is a little unique. I'm trying to think of how to position that. Teen doesn't allow COVID to stop her music dreams. Something like that. That's still relevant to music, to local, to what's happening in present time. It shares that you're a teen, and it shares that you're a musician. right? So it's just kind of changing it just a little bit. I think something like that might be a little bit more effective. You know, teen refuses to let COVID stop her dreams of becoming a musician. And then you talk about how you're releasing your song. So I think that that's, you know, great. And you could even talk about, you know, in here, how you're having to go to middle school online during the day. And then, you know, you're releasing your music, you know, adding a little bit more about your personal story, I think would be really cool too. Cause I find that interesting. You know, if I knew that, you know, there was a, you know, I know you and I find you interesting. Hey, she's going to school during the day, you know, learning, you know, math and English during the day. And then she's out pursuing her music. Most 13-year-olds aren't doing that. You know, most 13-year-olds are playing video games and doing other things. So definitely, I would say something like that for headline, and then add a little bit into your story, just a little bit about, you know, hey, she spends her days studying, you know, math and, you know, geometry, and then spends her evenings writing music. She's not the typical 13-year-old while everyone else is playing games. She's pursuing her higher dream, you know, something like that. I think would be really cool to really bring light to who you are as an artist and as a focused musician.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Did that help? Did you have any questions about that?
No.
No? Okay, cool. And if you need to reach out to me too, on the Facebook group, I can write it again if you want the headline, but hopefully you got it down.
Okay.
Let me see any other questions. No problem. All right, let me see here. Yeah, I noticed, so you said you still need to get added to the group. I went ahead and added everybody in there that had pending requests. If you're not part of the Facebook group, go ahead and add yourself, because I noticed that only a little over than half of people have joined the Facebook group, and that's kind of where I post all the Zoom links and stuff. I send out emails too, but I just don't want anybody to miss anything important. Sabrina, you had 2 questions. No problem. I can answer these, and then I can probably answer another question or two. And then I got to go get my son from daycare. Chris Blackwell. Oh, you know what? Real quick. Sorry. Chris, I think I sent you a message. I'll have to check, because I think your registration didn't go through. I think I'll let me look into it, and then I'll double check. But I think I'd sent you sent me a private message too. Okay, I'll check it out then, for sure. All right, Sabrina. So sorry. What was your question?
Oh, don't worry. So my question was, Kristine, you were talking about doing something similar, you know, as Patreon. And I was curious about, you know, when you're kind of done with it, do you have like a date where you finish with it?
With when I would finish what? Sorry, I didn't quite understand.
If I remembered correctly, you were talking about doing something similar, you know, as
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a few months. Sabrina's asking about, I work closely, you guys have met Chad, some of you guys have met Chad, he creates software. And because Patreon takes so much money and you know, Bandzoogle, everything's just kind of all over the place. There's so many things that when I wanted to sign up, I thought, geez, like all these platforms can be done so much better. So we're actually creating a platform so that you'll be able to, it's like a Patreon, but it's going to be better. There's going to be a lot of other cool features in it. I don't have a release date for that right now. That's something that I just have planned, that I'm definitely excited about. And it's similar to kind of like the membership platform that you guys go in right now, that you log into for Music Hustler. So it's kind of like that. It's going to have all kinds of community stuff where you can chat with other people and that sort of thing, which Patreon and Bandzoogle do not have. But that's kind of down the road. So.
Oh, okay. But it's just, I think it's just so cool. So I just wanted, you know, to.
I'm excited about it, because I was like, that was the only reason we decided to do it. Because I'm like, man, like all of these platforms, like they're all missing stuff, you know, that's just not done well. And I thought, oh, we could just create our own. Let's just do our own and make it easy for artists, you know. So that's definitely down the road, but we'll have it done. For us.
Yeah, that's also really cool because you are an artist. So my other question is, you know, it's okay, it's because I have a lot of co-writes going on. So I really like your kind of strategy with selling your song, but have you like co-write with someone, and how do you then do it with the income? Because if you give it away for free, then yeah, will it be a problem? I hope my question makes sense if you have experienced it.
What was the last thing you said?
I just want to hear if you have experienced it and what you,
Great question. So that's something that you want to share with the collaborator. if you plan on, releasing music for free, share that with them. Tell them about how important it is to build an email list. If they already know, then, they don't have to even, they'll get it, but make sure you talk to them prior to it. You let them know, hey, we're going to build this email list. And what you do is you share those emails that you got too. That could be part of the deal. Say, hey, you know what, I'm going to share these emails with you so you can build your email list too. That's the way a lot of people kind of collaborate online a lot. So it'd be like, hey, how about you post on your Instagram that we're giving away the song for free? I'll post on my Instagram that we're giving away the song for free. And then we can collect all the emails, and we both have twice as many emails now. So if they know how valuable an email list is, then it's not going to be a problem. Some artists, and even I'm guilty of this when I first started out. I was like, no, I got to be paid for everything, until I realized that unless I have something really to give, that the music itself is wonderful, but I actually get more value out of collecting an email address, right? Because of the longevity of it. You may have to, maybe explain that to them, share with them, delicately how amazing that it can be, much more amazing that it can be to get an email address than to just get one 99-cent sale, right? So just have that conversation with them so that they understand. For me, all the people that I collaborate with, now that I've gotten past that, because I had to tell every producer, every songwriter, I had to share everything with everybody. Now for me, I just pay everybody and then I do whatever I want, right? So I pay them, I basically can do what I want. Now with the publishing, they still own the publishing. So if it gets on like a movie or video game or something like that, we still split it, but I can give out the music for free. But if you're just starting out with collaborators and that sort of thing, that's what I would suggest. Just make sure to have the conversation with them beforehand and make sure that they get it. I've never talked to anybody when I explain it to them, when I explain how valuable it can be, I've never had anybody go, nope, I'm not going to do that. They get it, that it can be, you can end up making much more money by getting an email than just trying to get a 99-cent sale.
How do you get the email?
If you missed the beginning of this, there's a lot of different ways. That's like a whole other, video tutorial, but I did mention that one way that I do it on Instagram, Facebook, all my social media, I let people know, hey, here's my song. Do you guys want to download it for free? DM me the words free song and your email, and I'll send it to you. And so then I have their email, and now I have a way to have an open dialogue with them and talk to them. And, they get to know me, I get to know them. And now they don't feel like I'm this person that they can't reach out to. Now they feel personally connected to me. That's one way that you can do it. That's worked out amazing for me. It's been really, really organic. And that's how you create super fans, right? You're creating a direct connection, a personal, back and forth message between someone. And that's, again, Amanda Palmer, queen of this. She just would spend her whole day writing people back on Twitter. And now she has like 14,000 people that have committed to her on Patreon. Just 14,000. That's all. And she makes $1 million a year. $1 million a year off those 14,000 super fans. So you don't have to have 2, 3, 5 million fans for you to make $1 million, where she just has 14,000. I have a friend who has 1 billion plays on YouTube and makes almost nothing from music. She doesn't have an email list. She doesn't focus on the things that generate money. She just focuses on getting YouTube plays. So you can see how those results are very different, right? And my friend is, in my opinion, just one of the most talented singers I know. And Amanda Palmer, her music is very different. I'm not even a big fan of the music. I'm a big fan of her as a person, but her music doesn't really speak to me. But I still have joined her Patreon. I pay her every month because I like what she posts. She posts all these amazing videos, and she's very transparent and that sort of thing. So she just connects with her audience very, very well. And that's one way that I've done it. Is I don't tell people to go to my iTunes. I don't tell people to go to my Spotify. I don't tell people to go anywhere. I tell them, download my song for free by sending me your email. I'll add you to my list and I'll send you my song for free.
So you upload a little 15-second sample and then say, this is my music, and then you ask for the email. I've done a preview of it. Like before I released my recent song, I put out like a 15-second preview. I did exactly that. And then I said, hey, if you want to hear the song before anybody else, right? That was the exclusive thing. Before it's released in 2 weeks, right, you can hear my song now. You don't have to wait 2 weeks. Right. Send me your email. And then after I released it, then I said, guys, don't go to iTunes. Don't go to Spotify. Don't buy it. Just send me your email and I'll send it to you for free. So the
positioning changed slightly, but it's the same outcome, right? So that's how I did it with my recent one. And same thing with your live, like if you're doing a live stream, do the same thing. I shout out, you know, I think the last live stream I did, I got like 40 emails, and I just was live streaming, and I just was like, hey, you guys want my song for free? And I created a web page where they could actually put in their email. And I said, go to grabmysong.com. Go to Grab My Song. You guys can check it out right now if you'd like to see how my website works. Go to grabmysong.com, and it just has one thing for them to do. Just put in their email, and they immediately get put into my email list, and they can.
But they can listen to the song for free on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I can still ask them. I can still tell them I can give you for free, even though they can access it for free on YouTube.
Yeah, because they don't always want to watch the music video. Sometimes they just want to listen to it on the phone. You know, like if they're driving and that sort of thing, or maybe they want to make a remix to it or something fun, or they want to add it into a playlist or that sort of thing. So, and, you know, people just like free stuff. People really, really like free stuff. So, people don't always want to watch the video. So that's how, I mean, it's worked really well for me. So I would definitely recommend it.
Do you have a course in our program that talks about this, creating the email list? Ways of getting the emails?
So this particular thing we can cover. I'm releasing like a mega course of like 85 videos where I'm basically going to be showing everybody how to create like basically your own independent label. That's going to be a whole different other program. It's not going to be part of the Music Hustler program, but we can absolutely cover it. After we get through this like press release stuff and media, I'm going to send out a form for everyone to fill out, and you guys get to vote on the next thing that we're going to cover, on what's important to you guys. So, and then we'll be able to cover whatever that is. I have a program that's going to be, it's going to be like 12 weeks long, where we're basically going to be building small labels for anybody that joins. But that's probably not until April or May that will be, and that's going to be like a really big, heavily intensive program. But we can still cover it here as long as everybody else, it's important to everybody else as well. And I'll probably post some stuff on YouTube as well, now that you mention it, and I can share some tips like that. Because that's something that I've never seen anybody else do. I'm the only one that I've seen do that. And I think I've gotten like 600 emails in the last 6 weeks or something like that. Wow. Just from posting that every now and then, you know, and I've built up my following. So I don't want to say that you're going to get 600 emails. I built up my following for a long time. But even if you got 100 emails, if 100 people buy your album at $10, you know, it's $1,000.
Right.
You know, so it's not always about the quantity. It's about, you know, the quality of those people. Are you nourishing those relationships with them?
Thank you for everything you do for us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And and let me know if these things work for you guys, because I would love to hear, you know, what works and what doesn't work, or if you have questions and stuff, because that's kind of what this community is about. It's like, let's just grow together. I'll share with you guys what's worked for me, but that doesn't mean that that's the only thing that works, right? That's just worked for me in my journey. But I'm sure there's lots of other cool things that we can be doing, you know, that would be helpful to everyone in this group. So if you guys have other stuff that, you know, you want to share too, that's worked for you, you know, post it in that Facebook group, send me a message. Maybe I'll check it out and make a video tutorial on it and share it with everybody, because we all have different journeys and we all kind of, you know, figure out things on our own, and it's really valuable to share amongst each other. So
thank you.
No problem. Sabrina says you're the only one doing it. That is so amazingly helpful. Yeah, I haven't seen anyone else do it. And I'm like, man, it's just been so good and been so helpful, you know, to not have to, I'm not having to run any ads or anything like that with getting those emails. So it's been really great. But yeah, I think that's it for today, guys. I recorded today's webinar, so I'm gonna send it out for the replay to everybody. If you're not part of the Facebook group, make sure to join the Facebook group. And just keep building. And if you guys have any questions, post on there. I check it just about every day. And I think that's about it. So Ronnie says, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you guys. I really enjoy these. So I really have a great time talking with all you guys. So thank you, Sabrina. And I'll make that video on how to get people to your email list. Sechi, I think that's a great idea. So thank you for mentioning that. And then I will send this out probably tomorrow. So, all right, I'm gonna go pick up my little boy from daycare.
Say hello to your little boy.
Absolutely, and I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right, bye.
All right,
Bye,
bye.
everyone.